Our first guest this week is Mr. Andrew Morris, who's the CEO of SQI Diagnostics, listed in Canada, SQD, here in the United States, SQDIF. Andrew, welcome to the program.
Hey, thanks, Donald. Nice to be here.
Tell us what the company does. Really interesting company.
So, yeah, at SQI, we're leaders in the science of lung health. We develop and manufacture 15-minute point-of-care tests in respiratory health and precision medicine. So our tests simplify and improve respiratory distress testing, donor organ transplant testing, and post-transplant patient monitoring.
Are these products on the market currently?
So we do have an approved product in Canada. It's our RallyDX test. That's for monitoring respiratory distress in the emergency department. Other tests are still in process.
What's the market size for the space that you're in, would you say?
So when we look at our consolidated markets for our products, it's about $1 billion. And it's split, well, it's a bit over $1 billion. So the Rally family of products for respiratory distress, and these are targeted at the ICU and the emergency room for triaging patients, a lot like the original kind of point of care test for cardiac distress or heart attack in the emergency department. So we're looking at $1 billion market, total addressable market there in the US. For our transplant products in lung, kidney, and liver, we assess that as being a bit over $400 million in the US market. And then we have other tests for post-transplant monitoring called Breathe tests. These are non-invasive tests for monitoring lung transplant patients. And we look at that as slightly over $200 million as a market.
Now, do you have to jump through FDA approval hurdles like some companies, or are you free of that?
No, we certainly do. We do have those regulatory hurdles, but the company itself is very experienced, and we've had FDA products cleared in the past. We currently have products in the U.S. Approved under CLIA or CMS, and we have our RallyDX product that's approved here in Canada.
Tell us a little bit about your background, if you don't mind.
Yeah, no problem. Geez, we'll try to keep it short. But when I go through it all, I mean, people say I look younger than it sounds. So 13 years in the Air Force. I was a physiologist, did R&D and human performance enhancement. Have done a number of other startups in both the tech and healthcare space. Spent some time as a research analyst at Scotia Capital in Canada and managed Ernst & Young's M&A practice for about 4 years in life sciences. So CEO of SQI for about 19 years.
I want to go over a couple of recent press releases, if you don't mind. One that came to mind that I was really impressed with. You have a lot of shareholders, we'll call them friendlies, that are willing to help the company obtain the path to funding. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so I think you're talking about the recent press release where we codified or announced that we call them the insiders, our 3 large shareholders. They own about 76% of the company. Of the outstanding shares, about 85% on a fully diluted basis. So, and you've seen some activity in the market last week. We are in a little regulatory hold period for a few more days, and then they can start selling shares again. So they're selling shares in the market to buyers, and they're taking the proceeds from those share sales and exercising warrants that they hold already, and that funds Treasury.
Well, that shows a lot of faith in the company.
These have been very long-term, very supportive shareholders over the years. They've invested $60 million in cash into the company.
Wow. Now, another press release that caught my attention where you're streamlining your operation. You've trimmed your payroll. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so, this is, obviously it's unfortunate for the people that we had to streamline out. We cut our payroll by about 50%, and we're monetizing some of our non-core older assets. We have test products in celiac disease testing, rheumatoid arthritis testing. So we did this streamlining to strategically focus on our respiratory health portfolio and our point of care tests. And so we've cut our burn rate by about 50%. And, this is really the path to the future. This is point of care testing. We had large lab-based instruments, but the market, our customers, big partners, strategic targets in the market are telling us to get rid of the big old lab-based testing machines, and we're going to this $5,000 point of care machine.
Wow. What would you say is the biggest challenge you're facing currently as CEO of this company?
Well, I mean, like a lot of small companies, financing is always the worry of the CEO. Now, with our insiders selling shares and exercising warrants, we're hoping to stabilize the financing plan. So it's really, it is just about execution. We're converting all of our two core tests onto point of care cartridges. We have working prototypes. We know how to do this. We've got a great team that has been built over the last year and a half that is focused on point of care. So we're doing this transition, and there'll be some time there. We expect to have our first prototypes for our TortiX lung, our lung transplant test, in our customers and partners' hands this summer. So, we're doing this transition. It's not a pivot. It's a transition that we've had underway for a little while, but now we're trying to bring it to the forefront and monetizing some of our older assets.
A lot of people don't realize that a CEO really has two jobs: running the business and running a public company.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. Like, you're the face of the public entity, and your day job is really, operating the business. And there's a lot of activities, even with a refocusing of our efforts. So, I split my time equally between kind of public markets, capital markets activities, and working with my partners in the business to operate the business.
Why would you say this is a good time right now for people to take a closer look at SQI Diagnostics?
Well, I don't think you'll find a CEO out there that doesn't say that their company is currently undervalued. But your audience, I think, looks at penny companies, penny stock companies. But we're really an advanced company, and we're just kind of refocusing our efforts into very large markets. So, again, we're developing these very novel tests that turnaround time is 15 minutes, and they're done at the point of need. We've got very large markets with unmet needs. In our lung transplant tests, no tests like this exist in the market today. There's no way to quantify kind of the quality of a donor lung before it's transplanted into a recipient patient. And we've taken that core technology and focused on much bigger and broader markets in respiratory health. So to triage people at the emergency room for respiratory health issues, the idea is to send them home. In the ICU, it's to know when to intubate them or extubate them. So driving a lot of benefit and value to very large markets. Like on the ICU market side, there are 25 million patient days spent in the ICU in the US. So think of multiple test cartridges that's being run each day on each one of those patients. About 50% of them are there for respiratory health reasons. So these are really big markets. We've got a very experienced team. We've got all the key skills. We've had products approved by the US FDA, CLIA, and Health Canada in the past. So we know what we're doing.
SQI Diagnostics listed in Canada, SQD, in the United States, SQIDF. Andrew, fascinating interview. We've initiated coverage of your company. We're looking forward to more interviews from you over the next several weeks. Thanks so much for joining us here.
Yeah, thanks, Donald. Really appreciate the time.